Tonight, on To the Point.
A controversial bill making its way through the legislature is meant to address the homelessness issue in a different way, but Sacramento County officials say it won't work.
Attacks continue in the Middle East, with Americans living in the war zone.
What personally scares me is not knowing that any second things could escalate.
9 Democrats in the race for governor.
Being able to create a pathway to home ownership, work on affordability.
Tonight, Ian Calderon lays out his plan for California. In the crowded field of Democrats, the call for consolidation to succeed Governor Newsom. But is it too late? Well, the debate on how to address homelessness in the city of Sacramento continues tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Alex Bell. A California state senator is wanting to change how the county and cities within the county address the ongoing problem. The bill has been very controversial since last summer, and it was put on hold until now. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen is here to give us the latest updates and where the county stands currently.
Alex, it was put on hold last year after facing a lot of backlash, but now it's slowly making its way back through the legislature. Sacramento County still openly opposes this bill and is now asking for clarifications, while a Sacramento City Council member says it would provide better coordination between counties and cities. After being put on hold back in July 2025, Democratic Senator Angelique Ashby's Senate Bill 802 is making its way through the legislative process. The bill is meant to restructure the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency to a joint powers authority and renaming it the Sacramento Area Housing and Homeless Agency. It would impact Sacramento County, the cities of Sacramento, Folsom, Elk Grove, Rancho Cordova, and Citrus Heights.
We're fundamentally opposed to the bill for a number of reasons, and the threshold reason is that our analysis is that it's not even legal.
If passed, the bill would require a comprehensive plan to address homelessness in housing no later than 3 years from the date of when the JPA takes effect. The county has openly opposed this bill. And now, Supervisors Patrick Kennedy and Rich Desmond have sent this letter to Senator Ashby asking for clarification. One of the main questions is how it would keep funding decisions under full control of each individual jurisdiction.
I haven't seen where this would help anything. I mean, adding another level of bureaucracy isn't going to make things more efficient. It's not going to make them happen sooner. We're not here saying that we're done and we're claiming victory over homelessness by any means. But we do have programs that the senator's overlooking that have been very successful, including our partnership with the city of Sacramento.
ABC 10 asked Senator Ashby to clarify some of Supervisor Kennedy's concern, but she did not provide us with a statement. Sacramento City Council member Katie Maple has been an early supporter of this bill.
Having one place to go, no matter what your need is, you're going to get assessed and get to the right place. That's our hope with this bill.
In previous interviews, Senator Ashby assured the county and cities that each will still remain in control. It's something Councilmember Maple says could be a necessary change to make impactful changes to the homelessness issue.
And I think there's a lot of opportunities where if we work together, for example, pulling our funds to use an economy of scale, identifying locations in different parts of the county and the city, we could make real change. Right now, each jurisdiction is trying to figure out what they can do within the limits of their specific jurisdiction and the specific pot of money that they have. That's not efficient, and that's not how we do it in every other JPA.
And Supervisor Kennedy tells me the county is not interested in any amendments to this bill. Again, Senator Ashby wasn't available for an interview or comment on this story, Alex.
All right, Jeannie, thank you. New tonight, the Pentagon has released the identities of 4 of the 6 U.S. service members who were killed in a drone strike in Kuwait. They are Captain Cody Cork of Florida, Sergeant First Class Noah Tegens of Nebraska, Sergeant First Class Nicole Amore of Minnesota, and Sergeant Declan Cody of Iowa. All of the soldiers were assigned to an Army Reserve unit based in Iowa. The other 2 names are being withheld until a day after the next of kin has been notified. And now it is 4 days into the war with Iran, and the strikes are just escalating across the region. President Trump was pressed today about what threat the U.S. perceived when it launched strikes on Iran and what the administration's plan is for the thousands of American civilians that are stuck in the Middle East. President Trump publicly took questions from reporters. He was asked if Israel forced his hand, to which he said no, insisting Iran was the threat.
I think they were going to attack first, and I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand, but Israel was ready and we were ready.
Now, that contradicts what Secretary of State Marco Rubio said just yesterday, that Israel was planning on attacking Iran's regime with or without the U.S. Now, the administration's mixed messaging is causing frustration among Democratic and some Republican lawmakers on Capitol Hill.
Which one is it, Donald Trump? Regime change, nuclear weapons, missiles, an imminent threat to the homeland, or a preemptive strike to stop future attacks on the region?
There are thousands of American tourists now stranded across the Middle East. The State Department says it is working on securing military aircraft and charter flights for U.S. citizens. And this is video of the U.S. consulate in Dubai after a fire was extinguished. Initial reports indicate the fire was caused by an Iranian drone strike. The consulate was closed before the fire started. No injuries were reported. But today we talked with a former Sacramento resident and a former ABC 10 producer who now works and lives in Dubai as a journalist and has been covering the regional tensions there for a while.
Dubai is known for being pretty safe, and this is something that we feel every day being here. So when this regional tension started to happen, we did not see this coming. And then they started talking about how other countries were getting hit, and then we get hit in Dubai.
Now, Dima says today Dubai was quiet, but she and her family are weighing their option as to whether to return to the United States. For the latest on our continuing coverage on the conflict in Iran, make sure that you turn to our free ABC 10 TV streaming app. All right, still ahead on To the Point, a stern warning tonight from the California chair of the Democratic Party, why he's urging some candidates to exit the race for governor. On the Republican side, one candidate decides to bow out of the race, why he says there is no path for victory.
And temperatures tomorrow are going to be near 70 degrees across the valley. Chance for a quick passing storm, though, in the wake of that system. Windy to end of the work week. I've got a full look at the forecast after the break.
But first, and other headlines. Educators at Twin Rivers Unified School District will go on strike this Thursday. Families were sent a notification saying the schools will remain open during the strike. This will be the first strike in the district's history. A man was killed and a woman was hurt in a stabbing that happened last night in Sacramento's Doco area. Police say it happened on K and 4th Streets. Homicide detectives are investigating, but there is no suspect information yet. And a Georgia jury convicted the father of accused school shooter Colt Gray on murder charges. Prosecutors say Colin Gray bought his 14-year-old son the AR-15 style rifle and allowed Colt access to the weapon despite receiving warnings that he was a danger to others. 2 teachers and 2 students died in the shooting in 2024. The jury convicted him on 27 charges, including 2 charges of murder and 2 charges for manslaughter. Another beautiful day here in Sacramento. Let's get things over to meteorologist Brendan Minchef. Still nice, pretty warm outside, not too bad.
Yeah, 70 degrees today. One of the warmer temperatures we've had so far this year. Definitely not the warmest day, but one of the warmer ones. 70 in Sacramento today, 71 in Stockton, 71 Modesto, 71 in Vacaville, 70 Fairfield, 60s in the foothills, 50s up in the high country, 75. That was Saturday's temperature. That's the warmest day that we've had so far this year, but 70 degrees today still makes it on the board, tying February 6th and 8th. Temperatures at the moment in those low to middle 60s across most of the valley, 50s in the foothills, 40s up top. As we look at Wednesday morning, temperatures will be in those upper 40s to about 50 degrees. We'll have some passing clouds overhead. We'll stay dry, maybe a little rain out along the coast, but otherwise dry through the overnight. Wednesday afternoon, a slim shower and storm chance across the valley. Close to 70 degrees, upper 60s to about 70 in the valley, 56 Placerville, 63 in Angels Camp, 45 in Tahoe, and 43 in Truckee. So as we go into the overnight, here come those clouds. Again, maybe some rain out along the coast up towards places like Fort Bragg and Mendocino County, but I don't think we're really going to see anything here in the valley during the overnight hours. As we head into the afternoon, some pop-up showers up along the crest of the Sierra through about lunchtime. And as we go into the mid to late afternoon, there's just a few pop-up showers north of Sacramento. They will work their way off to the south and east, and these could become thunderstorms, especially as they head into the foothills. But for the most part, the models are kind of backing off on that thunderstorm potential just a little bit for tomorrow. Nonetheless, it is there as this system coming in is kind of bringing some unstable air with it. Once the system slides south, beginning on Thursday, continuing through Saturday, and high pressure builds off to the west, what happens is we're going to get a northerly flow, and this is going to lead to some pretty gusty winds for 3 days in a row. So breezy tomorrow, but becoming much windier on Thursday afternoon with wind gusts 30 to 35 miles per hour in the valley. Strong overnight wind gusts Friday morning in the high country, and then we're going to continue to see those strong gusts about 35 to 45 miles per hour on Friday and Saturday in the valley. Temperatures near seasonal on Thursday, then mid-70s for the weekend. Alex?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Right after the break, I continue my conversations with the 9 Democratic candidates for California's next governor. Tonight, Ian Calderon makes his case for succeeding Governor Gavin Newsom. And get viable or get out, the stern warning tonight to California Democrats in the race for governor. The chair of the Democratic Party is sending a clear message to the candidates running to become California's next governor. It's time for some to consider dropping out, especially after last month's endorsement convention ended without a pick for a governor. ABC 10 State Matters political reporter Jenny Huh has the details for us tonight.
I am saying out loud what plenty of people have been saying privately.
Ahead of the June primary election, chair of the California Democratic Party, Rusty Hicks, is calling for party consolidation in the race to succeed Governor Gavin Newsom.
So in your perspective, is this too little too late by the official party?
I think it's a little late. I do.
Calls for that consolidation have echoed for months now amid growing concerns the Democratic vote could be split so much among these 9 leading Democratic candidates, allowing for a Republican-on-Republican race in the top 2 runoff in November.
Kind of an existential crisis potentially in this governor's race.
So you have nearly a dozen Democrats who have been staring into the mirror, and what they see coming back at them is governor.
Hicks in a Tuesday letter asking lower performing candidates not to declare their candidacy ahead of this Friday's candidate filing deadline, which would put their name on the June ballot. And a stern message for candidates that still march on.
To be prepared to either get viable or get out. I'm only giving them the opportunity and inviting them to be a collective part of solving this challenge that we're all facing.
So why not call on specific candidates to drop out? Hicks says the polls speak for themselves.
This letter from you and leadership, is this the most kind of involvement, quote unquote, we're going to get ahead of the primary?
Only time will tell. I mean, this is a first step, and I think it was the best step for today.
The most recent poll from the nonpartisan Public Policy Institute of California shows 5 are essentially tied. Republicans Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco, alongside Democrats Katie Porter, Eric Swalwell, and Tom Steyer.
They have to know that they're costing votes for the top Democratic vote getter. Even if there is 5 Democrats at the end of the day, there still is some chance that they would split up the vote so much.
Candidates who polled in the single digits in the recent PPIC poll are responding. Former State Controller Betty Yee, former Secretary of Health and Human Services Javier Becerra, and former State Assemblymember Ian Calderon say their names will be on the ballot. And this from State Superintendent of Schools Tony Thurmond.
Bernie Sanders was right. Our political system is rigged. The California Democratic Party is essentially telling every candidate of color in the race for governor to drop out.
Jenny Huh, ABC 10.
And other Democratic leaders are weighing in. Governor Newsom saying, while he has no endorsement, he gets why Hicks wrote the letter. Now, meanwhile, a candidate has dropped out of the race, Republican candidate John Slavitt. He said it's simple math. He didn't see a path to victory this time around. Slavitt entered the race back in December, joining former Fox News host Steve Hilton and Riverside Sheriff Chad Bianco, both consistently considered the leading Republicans in the race. Now, Slavitt wasn't a leading candidate, polling at 1% in the recent PPIC poll, but political experts note that Slavitt could have taken some of the Republican votes from Bianco and Hilton, perhaps lessening the likelihood of both Republicans advancing to the November runoff and boxing out Democrats entirely. We asked about both his decision to drop out as well as the calls for consolidation in the Democratic Party.
Well, I think there's probably some panic in the Democratic Party in California. There could be top 2 Republicans, even though the chances and probability are small of that. And when I look left at the Democrats, I see a lot of Trump bashing, but I don't see practical ideas to help working people. And when I look right, I see rhetoric that unfortunately will alienate many of the independents and Democrats that we need to win as Republicans.
Slavitt also says he is dropping out ahead of the Friday candidate filing deadline. He wanted to make sure his name was not on the ballot to not confuse voters. And since none of the Democrats are, dropping out, we're going to continue introducing them to you one by one, because this final decision really comes in November. For now, those 9 leading Democratic hopefuls and several Republicans are in the race. To help you get to know them and what they say they'd bring to the job, I sat down with the candidates at last month's Democratic convention. I'll also do the same with the Republican Party. To keep things fair, I drew names at random for these interviews. Meet Ian Calderon. For people that are meeting you for the first time, why are you deciding to run for governor of California?
It all comes down to my kids and my family. A lot of families like mine in this state just don't believe that we have a future here and that our kids don't have a future here. And so it's just important for me to know that I am a part of the solution, being able to create a pathway to home ownership, work on affordability, work on accountability, so that our kids and our future here is going to be bright, and that everybody feels like if they do the right thing, they keep working hard, there's a place for them here in this state.
Now, if you were to be elected, what would be your top 3 priorities your first year in office?
Housing, creating a pathway to housing, affordability, specifically around childcare. I have 4 kids, and when my wife and I were paying for childcare for all 4 kids, we were paying more in childcare payments a month than we were in our rent. So I'm going to cap childcare costs at $500 a month for every family across the state, for 95% of the kids, 0 to 5. And then accountability. People want to know that we're being responsible with the money that we already have. And so I'm going to make sure that we have forensic audit day 1 of my administration. Those forensic audits, we're going to learn from them, we're going to create policy, and then I want to install an independent prosecutor within my administration that will prosecute fraud and anybody taking advantage of our state.
California has spent billions of dollars addressing homelessness, but yet the problem still persists, and you can really see it on a lot of city streets. What would you do differently to address homelessness?
So there are a lot of people making money off of homelessness right now. So we need to understand exactly where they're making their money. Who exactly are these middlemen that I believe are ripping the state off? Because the money's going somewhere, someone's making it, but it is not making a material difference in actually reducing homelessness. We need a system that's set up where you come in, you get assessed on what your need actually is. Then you move on to the next stage. Okay, let's actually start with mental health services and get you access to counseling and resources to actually diagnose and work through the challenges that led you to homelessness. And we're going to have wraparound services to make sure that you were taken care of and protected long term.
Do you think that California has gone too far, not far enough, or has struck the right balance on criminal justice reform?
I was in the legislature under Jerry Brown. Jerry Brown's #1 focus was criminal justice reform. And you cannot be a progressive government, you cannot have progress on policy unless you're willing to try something different. At the time, it was very clear that lock them up and throw away the key policies were not making a difference when it comes to keeping us safer and rehabilitating offenders and people that needed help to reenter society and be a functioning, contributing member of our communities. And so I believe in reform, but it has to start and be rooted in safety. We have to make sure we are rooted in public safety and that our public safety officers have the resources they need to keep us safe, and that we are training them in the correct ways to know how to handle different types of situations. But also at the same time, we don't want to have policies that just punitively punish people long term. We don't know what somebody's going through. We don't know what's contributing to them and why they are offending. And so that R at the end of CDCR and rehabilitation, we really need to focus on rehabilitation, but we have to fund it and we have to be accountable to the results and making sure that we're staying consistent and we are actually rehabilitating people.
And we are going to keep these candidate profiles going here at 6:30. Tomorrow I sit down with Matt Mahan. You can also stream all of my interviews right now on the ABC 10 app. We are also working to sit down with the top Republican candidates as we continue our coverage of the race for California's next governor. All right after the break, cuts, layoffs, and higher parking fees. City leaders discuss possible ways to shrink a $66 million budget gap. And here's what we are working on for tonight. Right now, Sacramento City leaders are discussing major budget concerns. The City Council needs to figure out how to close a more than $66 million budget gap by early June. The city is looking at budget cuts, which could lead to layoffs. The city is also looking to generate more money. That could be from raising parking rates and adding more parking meters, as well as start charging a fee for residential parking permits. Now, tonight marks the first budget discussion meeting with the council expected to adopt a final budget in June. We do have a crew at that meeting, and we will have a full update coming on late news tonight at 11. But as always, thank you so much for watching, for always inviting us into your home. If you have something that you think the team and I should be looking into, you can always email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. And don't forget, we are streaming our governor's candidates, the coverage that we've been doing with all of the candidates. It is on our ABC 10 Plus streaming app right now, completely free to download to your TV. So if you want to take a look at the top 9 Democratic candidates in the race, again, we're working on the Republicans. We'll bring those to you shortly. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.